Hey, what's going on, guys? This is an update video on the super easy reef tank series that we did about a year ago. So this easy reef tank basically has easy corals, easy fish, so it requires the least amount of maintenance that that it could possibly be done, because you know, there's other systems that definitely take a lot more work, a lot more maintenance, a lot more discipline to kind of maintain. So what I want to do with this video is kind of just talk about what happened throughout the whole year that we had this tank and some of the challenges. So one of the things that I didn't foresee about the placement of the tank was that it was getting a lot of sunlight. So through the day, it probably got about 3 to 4 hours of direct sunlight, and so the tank ended up having an algae bloom. So this started as a haze in the water. The water kind of just starts to look milky. You could do basically just water changes and just kind of wait it out. We did that, we waited out, and the water ended up turning green. That happened to me before, but it hadn't happened in a long time. What we ended up having to do was buying a UV sterilizer, and it was about 50 bucks, I think. We bought this one right here that I'm gonna put on the screen, and that one completely cleared out the water in about 3 days. The water was crystal clear, and after about a week of the UV sterilizer being in there, we took it out and I never put it back. So another thing that happened is that we packed the tank with about 5 to 6 LPS, like hammer, frog spawn, and anemone, and zoanthids, torches, you know, one torch, things like that. So 5 or 6 months after setting up the tank, we started noticing that the coral started to close up, and we didn't know why it was going on, so we decided to test. You know, I hadn't done any testing or anything like that in the tank. That was the whole point of it. But you know, I just had to do some testing just to see what was going on, and turned out that the alkalinity was super low. It was about 5 DKH. I did a big water change, and it was a 50% water change, and then afterwards we started dosing about 5 to 8 milliliters of alkalinity every day. When it came to the calcium and the magnesium, that one didn't change enough for me to think that it needed any dosing, so I just didn't add any of that. We just kind of stick to 5-gallon water change every 2 weeks, and the alkalinity dosing daily. So 2 weeks ago we were at Petco, and we noticed that the $1 per gallon sale of the tanks was going on Petco, so we decided to go ahead and buy a 20-gallon long aquarium. I really like the shape of that tank. I think it's a really cool, especially for reef tanks. The way that it's shaped, I think is perfect for a reef tank, especially a small one. I just love those like longer, shallower dimensions of a tank. I think they give you a lot more space to work with rather than being deep. You know, they have a lot more real estate to place a lot of different corals, and it just makes it look cooler, in my opinion. We bought that one, and we decided to upgrade the 10-gallon easy reef tank. We left the rock the same way that it was. Basically everything is the same thing, just the tank changed, and I believe that this will probably make it a lot easier to maintain the tank, because now we have 100% more water, and it should have a lot more of that buffer for the alkalinity consumption of every day. So now we haven't really tested anything. I think we're still gonna stick to say about 5 milliliters every other day or every day whenever we remember of the alkalinity dosing, and we're still gonna stick to the 5-gallon water change every 2 weeks. So this is what the tank looked like before, and this is the new tank that we got. So it's like you see, it's a regular 20-gallon long Aqueon, and what we did is I wrapped the back of the tank with this blue vinyl. I think that it kind of blends in with the background, with the back wall, so it kind of makes it look like there's nothing behind that there's nothing in between the aquarium and the wall. It kind of hides the filter and the heater, all that stuff in the background, but it kind of makes it blend in with the wall in the back. And the other thing that we did is we wrapped the bottom of the tank in this gold, really sparkly vinyl. We kind of thought that it might make it look like sand a little bit. It doesn't really look like sand, but it looks pretty cool. The maintenance on this tank is super easy. I hope that it helps you give yourself a chance to start a new reef tank, because it's super easy to keep a tank like this. Having a tank like this is gonna teach you a lot, and it's gonna give you the courage to move on into SPS, maybe have a larger tank, you know, things like that. One of the topics that I wanted to touch on about starting a reef tank is a myth that I heard when I was a lot younger, and when I started doing reef tanks, and I feel like I still hear it a lot from reefers, from old-time reefers, is that the bigger you go with the tank, the better it is, or the easier it is for you in the long run, because it's gonna be more stable. It's just gonna be better. That's completely not true. A small reef tank is a lot easier to maintain than a big reef tank if you don't have the experience. You need to get a small reef tank and get used to, having that tank, and then graduate into a 100-gallon reef tank. Especially because when you have a 100-gallon reef tank, you're gonna want to do more things. You're gonna want to put a lot more coral. You're gonna want to get a bigger fish. You're gonna get more fish. Your fish are gonna get sick. It's just a lot harder. These are things that you have to go through for a long time and kind of learn them as you go, and then you graduate into bigger tanks. So anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling about that. But I hope it helps you. And this is what a tank looks like now.